And for the 19th time ever, we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a truncated down version of the Reviewing Network Live this week. It's been kind of a busy day around my neck of the woods with stuff I had to do earlier in the day today. I went out to Walmart earlier today, so there was some stuff there. Took some video of some stuff I bought. I'll have that video coming up later on tonight, so be on the lookout for that. But in addition to that, I've got some other things I'm working on. I got a new critic review coming up at midnight tonight, so I gotta get ready to record that. I have to do another time about the movies episode. I've been busy with the NFL playoffs today. My Steelers made it in there somehow. Jacksonville really dropped the ball big time, and hey, Pittsburgh won yesterday, so they're gonna go to the playoffs right now as I'm watching this. Buffalo and Miami, it's basically going to decide where the Steelers go next week. Josh Allen just threw an interception at the time I'm recording this. I'm hoping the Steelers go to the Buffalo Bills because, quite honestly, if the Dolphins win, the Steelers would have to go to Kansas City. And quite frankly, I don't want them playing second fiddle to Taylor Swift. So yeah, that should give you an idea of when I'm recording this right here. But like I said, it's getting close to the time when I'm usually done recording the regular full-length episode of this. So what I decided to do this week, basically, because there wasn't really a ton of noteworthy stories to talk about in terms of like the big news stories this week. There really wasn't a whole lot there that I wanted to really delve into or divulge into for this first weekend of 2024, the first week of 2024, I should say. There were some other things I wanted to talk about for some other additional stories, but I can save those for next week. So this is going to be a very shortened version of the Reviewing Network Live this week because I'm going to talk about the box office and then I'm going to talk about some recommendations for the week. The first set of recommendations I have for 2024. So let me put the disclaimer up here. If this is your first time watching the Reviewing Network Live, you should know that this is a stream of consciousness conversation recording session where we look back on the news stories of the past week. We look at the box office. We look at some other stories of interest. And it's usually a long, free-form conversation recording session where I sit back with you guys, relax, to have a drink with me on the side so I can do these longer form shows because there is a lot of long form conversations here and it's also for the most part unedited. So that means there's going to be a lot more found language than there usually would be in these videos. But so if you're offended by that, you might want to step away. But if you're not, then sit back, relax, and let's begin the conversation. Before I get to the weekend box office, I know the Golden Globes are happening right now, but I hear Joe Coy is killing it, as in he's killing the buzz of the entire room in that show. I'm not paying attention to it. I'm just paying attention to social media. But, yeah, it's not looking so good right now. But then again, it's the Golden Globes on CBS. What do you think was going to happen? You think CBS is really going to go away from its target audience just to entertain the younger people? I don't think so. But I don't know if it's just because of CBS's writers that they have on there or what, but the Golden Globes used to mean something back in the day, but not really, not so much. I mean, when you really think about it, it was usually the place you go to find out find out who's going to be the front runner for the Oscars. Although I will admit, Robert Downey Jr. did win a Golden Globe with this for Oppenheimer, so that gives me hope that he's going to be a front runner for the Oscars. One would hope, but we will see. But by the way, I am going to try to do something for Oscar Sunday in March when that happens. Maybe do a live version of the show during the Oscars itself. So I haven't really decided yet, but I have time to decide on what I'm going to do for that, as well as the Super Bowl as well. But again, all a good time. But with that said, let's just go into the weekend box office. And not really anything too spectacular or too interesting to really point out here. But this first one here is interesting. For a movie that I was not the biggest fan of and really did not like, it's sticking around, and that is, of course, Anyone But You. The number 5 film this week improved 8.5% from last week to $9.5 million. The film is now up to $43.7 million. Excuse me. Worldwide, the total gross is up to $58 million, and I believe this did not have a huge budget to it. I probably have already said it last week, but I'll just check again just to make sure. Yeah, it's already over its budget, $25 million. So anything it makes from this point on is instant profit. And the fact that it's been gaining an audience every week since it's come out is pretty interesting. I mean, compare that to The Color Purple, which had this phenomenal opening at $18 million on Christmas Day, and now is completely out of the top 5 altogether after just 2 weeks. And it dropped near 60% to $4.7 million at number 7, which is a shame because that movie is definitely a lot better than Anyone But You. But I'll delve more into that in my Worst of the Year list next year because that movie will more than likely be on there. Kind of like with my Best of the Year list, which I already have on the other channel, so you can go ahead and check that out if you want to. But kind of like with my Best of the Year list, the Worst of the Year list is slowly but surely a struggle to really put together because I'm seeing more movies now that will have to, like, even out what my final top 10 will be. It was not easy putting together my top 10 Best of the Year list, which, like I said, you can go check that out on the other channel. I'll have a link to it in the corner here, so you can go check it out, or down below if I can't get it over there, but I don't know why I couldn't, but regardless, though, so why is this movie sticking around after all these weeks? I mean, I guess there is just more of I guess there is more love for Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell than I thought it was, because who would have guessed this movie would be sticking around after all these weeks? I just wish they were in better movies than this. I mean, these are two really good actors. I think they have a bright future ahead of them, but you gotta be in better movies than this, man. This was just a really, really bad movie. It's a bland, dull romantic comedy, but again, I will talk more about this in my Worst of the Year list next week. But still sticking around, still sticking around after 3 weeks and doing better than most of the other movies in the top 5 right now. But that brings us to the number 4 film, and that is Illumination's Migration, which drops down a spot. Only dropped 40% from last week, $10.3 million, $77.8 million after 3 weeks. Worldwide, it's already crossed the $150 million mark. Really fun movie. I really enjoyed this one a lot. It was in my honorable mentions for the Best of the Year. Not much more I could say about that one. I really want to go check this one out again. I might do it this week. So we'll see what happens there, depending on what opens up here. I could have gone to see The Beekeeper this week, too. I guess they had like a special early screening of it on Friday. And Josh Allen just threw another interception as I was talking. Really bad one, too. It was like 4th and 2. They could have just ran for the first down, but no, I think it's Deshaun Elliott who caught that one. Yeah, you can tell what time of the day I'm actually recording this. So the Reviewing Network Live is not technically live, but then again, whenever most shows that say they're live probably are really are not. But yeah, I'm sorry, that just caught my attention while I was watching this, while I was doing this. But anyway, Migration. That's not what I was talking about, though. I was saying I was going to check it out again this week, hopefully this week, but I could have gone to see the new movie that's coming out next week, The Beekeeper. I guess there was like an early preview on Saturday night that I probably could have gone to see it, but because of the snowstorm and all that, I decided to stay at home yesterday, so that's why I didn't get to go see it. From what I heard about it, it's a mix between it's a so bad it's good type of movie, but some people really did not like it at all, so I mean, it looks like a really bad guilty pleasure movie, but once I get some time down the road, maybe I'll go check it out. Maybe I might see it this next weekend. I haven't really decided yet, but bottom line, Migration still hanging in there after 3 weeks. So let's go ahead and move on to the number 2 movie, and that is the number 3 film, I should say, number 2 last week, and that is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which crossed the $100 million mark, so that's good to know. $10.6 million, only dropping about 42% from last week. $100 million even after 3 weeks. The worldwide gross up to $334 million. Definitely not anywhere near the first movie, but hey, it crossed $100 million, so that's something that Warner Bros. Has got to be excited about. So, not much more to say about that one, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So let's now get to the number 2 movie this week. And the number 2 movie this week is the only new release this week, the first big new release of 2024, and that is Night Swim. Yeah, I've talked about this movie's trailer for a couple of times on this particular channel. I did a trailer review as a short, and then I did the teaser review on an episode of the Reviewing Network Live earlier this year, last year, I should say, like this past fall. I wasn't really doing this, but you get the idea. I did a trailer sum up of this during one of my shows is in the fall, and wow, you mean to tell me that the movie that's ripping off not only the Amityville Horror but also It and a bunch of other different horror movies didn't do so well? color me shocked, but yeah, who am I kidding? It's Blumhouse Studios. Of course, this movie's gonna make a profit regardless. And even though this thing opened at about $12 million, yeah, the film only cost $15 million. So it's really not that big of a deal in terms of the financial implications here. Universal Blumhouse knows exactly what they're doing, and they made headlines this week by merging with James Wan's Atomic Monster. That was one of the big stories this week in particular, which kind of made sense. I mean, after everything, after everything they've done the last couple of years, it just kind of makes sense that these two would merge together. But yeah, the trailer for this just did not look interesting at all. Just made this movie not look interesting in the slightest. I mean, like I said, it rips off so many different other horror movies. Like, you have elements of it, you have elements of the Amityville Horror, you have all these different things. Like, it's just kind of like it wasn't I didn't feel like it was trying at all. And this wasn't another Megan style movie where the movie speaks for itself in terms of the memes that would come out of this. I mean, that movie has a lot of meme material and a lot of elements to it that really that made that movie more fun than it should have been. Like, it's a guilty pleasure movie, but this, like, it's basically the Amityville Horror, except it's not the house that's haunted, it's a pool. I mean, the most genius thing ever, I guess, and people bought into it. It actually opened at number 1 on Friday, and then, not surprisingly, Saturday and Sunday dipped down, and it's the number 2 movie. And this thing's going to be gone within the next week. But, hey, Universal and Blumhouse, they came in, they took whatever they could, and now they're going to get out with another profitable hit. So, like, I mean, this is what you get in early January. This is exactly what you get. But, so yeah, not much more to say about that one. I will not be checking this one out anytime soon. Maybe it could be a contender for the worst of the year list if I have to go at the end of the year when I have to look for films to look for the worst of 2024. But until then, we move on to the number 1 movie, and not surprisingly, for the 4th week in a row, it is Wonka. $14.4 million, dropping only 35%, bringing in $164.7 million after 4 weeks, already at $465 million worldwide. Same things I've said before. I was disappointed by it, but it's the big family film this holiday season, so it's going to stick around for a little bit. Maybe this could be the last weekend, too, because next week everyone's going to be talking about is Mean Girls. That one, I think the buzz on that is very strong right now. The Book of Clarence comes out next week as well. Soul comes out next week for the first time in theaters, which I don't know if that's going to do too well, but that's one I kind of would like to see on a big screen again. Maybe I should want to go check that out instead of The Beekeeper, which also will come out next week. But yeah, other than that, though, the rest of the box office isn't anything too spectacular. Some other things of noteworthiness that I see here is that, Wish finally crossed $200 million worldwide, so it at least made its money back, which isn't really saying a whole lot for that movie. Trolls Band Together crossed the $100 million mark this week. Anything else of noteworthiness that I see on this list? I don't think so. I think those were the only notable things that happened in the box office in general. So not a really big weekend in terms of the weekend box office, but yeah, not really that much going on this week in particular. So let's go ahead and move on to some recommendations, and we're going to get on out of here. Like I said, very short show this week. So, unlike last week, there are some new physical releases coming out on 4K and Blu-ray for the first time. Varsity Blues is getting a nice-looking 4K Blu-ray combo set that I'm looking forward to picking up. Blood Simple's coming out on Criterion in 4K. Eddie Murphy Raw comes out on Blu-ray. Of course, Eddie Murphy's 80s stand-up movie that went to the big screen after Delirious. I'm trying to see what else is coming out next week of noteworthiness. I think that's actually about it. But, The Holdovers was the big new one from last week, which I actually just got today over at Walmart. So I'm looking forward to checking that one out. It's directed by Alexander Payne, who gave us Sideways and The Descendants. I've liked a lot of his movies, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that one. I didn't get a chance to review it in time to put it in my top 10. Not that it probably would make it in there. I mean, who knows? Maybe it would have, but I think this year I was able to cover most of the movies that I wanted to cover for my top 10 list. I saw most of the big Oscar contender movies, the movies that would probably be on everyone else's top 10 list. Still a couple I've yet to see. Like, I haven't seen The Boy in the Heron. I didn't get to see The Iron Claw yet, or The Boys in the Boat, but But that's pretty much the newer releases, physical releases that came out that come out this week of noteworthiness. I'm trying to think of anything else that I would recommend. I'm trying to think. Give me 1 second. No, honestly, that's about it. A show tonight that I was looking forward to, Grimsburg, actually premieres on Fox. I have not been able to watch it, unfortunately, because of the NFL game that's going on right now. But I'll try to watch it later on tonight. I just got too much going on right now in terms of my schedule. I got to watch tonight's Bob's Burgers for a written review. I got to do the critic review as well. So I'll get to it eventually. If it's not tonight, it'll definitely be within the next week. But that was a show I was really looking forward to, with John Hamm basically playing a detective. It's kind of like a parody of those true crime drama shows. It looked pretty funny, and I'm hoping that's pretty good. But touchdown Miami. So Miami's on the board right now, and again, that should tell you what time of the day I'm actually doing this. But with that said, that's going to wrap up the short episode of the Reviewing Network Live. I will do my best to have a full episode next week with more stories to talk about. But again, just a busy day today on my part, so I will get to that one. I will get to a full episode next time around. But thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see what a full episode of the Reviewing Network Live looks like, go ahead and hit the playlist coming up here on the page you're about to see here, or go subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and you can see exactly what you've been missing out on. But with that said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next week with another episode, and until then, we are out.